You're listening to Glitter Joyride, a Substack podcast by Pavni More. When you've ghosted the divine, for the spiritual person who stopped practicing. This week, I was talking with an old friend from San Francisco, I'll call her Nima, when she said something heartbreaking. She is a pro-dom and regards her work as a vocation. She helps her clients reach states of devotional surrender that they struggle to access in their daily lives. And she was telling me about a session she had in which her client was on their knees, bowing in front of her, sobbing with gratitude and relief at being held in her love. She used the word worshipped. Her client was worshiping. Nima is soulful. She's deep, and hanging out with her is grounding, and I always feel better after we do. She says the real things, and she looks beyond the superficial towards deeper realities. So it surprised me when she told me that she feels cut off from her spiritual practice. In the time I've known her, she has consistently been in relationship with the divine. But last week she said, I am embodying the goddess for my clients, and they are getting the benefit of that relationship, of that surrender. Why can't I feel my own connection with her? She told me that without feeling that connection, she feels a bit fake, like she's pretending for the sake of her paycheck. Ouch. So I asked her about her practice. And she said, I stopped practicing last year. And so, of course, my next question is, what happened around the time you stopped? And she said, my dad was sick and I was caring for him and life was hectic. I just never started back up. And by now she's crying and my heart goes out to my sweet friend. Do you want to start again? And here it is. I feel like I betrayed myself and I don't know how. That's the self-betrayal that gets many of us, including me, including Nima, when we fall off our practice. It's a real relationship between the divine and us, and we all know what happens when one person ghosts. And I could relate deeply to Nima's tale of woe. When I moved back 7 years ago, I was overwhelmed and I didn't call a beloved friend. And then I started to feel guilty about not calling. I became avoidant because I felt guilty. And before you knew it, 7 years had passed. And the longer it went on, the more impossible it felt to pick up the phone. And eventually the window closed and I never did. Shame about neglect, about abandoning ourselves, our relationship, our practice. That sucks. Starting again alone is hard precisely because the shame is in the way. And that is what and who my new offering is for. So I'm holding a practice container this spring, 6 weeks of showing up. If you feel far away from your practice, you don't know how to find your way back, or if you fell off and the longer it goes on, the worse it feels, I got you. And we'll figure it out together. There's only 6 spots left. We're starting on Thursday, April 30th. Registration closes April 28th. That's Tuesday. And I just really hope you'll join me and come home to the relationship that you love beyond everything. Link to register and more information is in the show notes.